Oh, not bad in here today. Got it down to 54, I think. Colder than it's been. Just took some ice. As I said, I would come today, maybe going into some of the Buddha's work a little bit. And I thought about the quote, our life is shaped by our mind. We become what we think. And I like that. I think it's an important perspective to have, although it's easy to lose it. We're not what happens to us. We are how we react to what happens to us. So we're the result of a series of reactions. And all too often, we're impulsive. We don't think before we take action. And that's how we live to regret our actions. And it's it falls in the idea you're going to see in life what you want to see in life. So if you think the world is a horrible, cheating, take advantage of you place, then that's the world you're going to create. Instead, if you see the world as a place where overall people are good and people seek to help and look out for what's best, then that's the world you're going to see around you. I'm reminded of an old Chinese story. A farmer searched all throughout his house for an axe. He went out to his work shed, and no matter where he looked, he just could not find this axe. And then he looked across his yard over the fence and he saw the neighbor's teenage boy, and he thought, oh, I never trusted him. He's sneaky. I know he came in here and he took that axe, and I'm going to have to go confront him because nobody's going to take advantage of me like that, because he's a criminal and he's a terrible person, and I've always known it. And as he was getting ready to go over there, he looked in the field, and on the ground by a tree he had been trimming some lower branches, there he sees his axe, and he realizes he left it. And all of a sudden he looks over at that boy, and this time as he looks at the boy, he sees what a kind young man he is, that he's always offering to help. He's always willing to support his parents and do whatever they need and contribute to the house. And that's the idea of that perspective. He saw what he wanted to see. And we do the same in people. When we judge people, when we're stereotypical, when we think we can make an assumption about how somebody is based on their appearance, based on the clothes they wear. And the reality is, we know nothing about them, except once we make that judgment, then we tend to see them in the way we want to see them, in the way that we perceive them, not in the way that they are. So it does go beyond people too. If you look for kindness and you look for things for which you could be grateful, and you do that over the course of a month or 3 months or half a year, suddenly you're going to see more acts of kindness and generosity, and you're going to wake up and you're going to feel more gratitude every day of your life, because it's a muscle. The way we think can be trained. And the nice thing we know about the brain, and we've learned from the brain, is the idea of neuroplasticity. I had a psychology teacher in the high school where I teach, and her explanation was wonderful. If you think about a college campus, and there are paths leading from one building to the next building, but if over time students start figuring out that if they cut across the lawn, they'll get to class sooner, they'll get to the building sooner, then before you know it, a path starts getting cut out in the lawn, and more students start using that new walked on path rather than the concrete paths that had been there. Our brain works much the same way. We are creatures of habit, so we tend to fire along the same neuron paths each and every time. However, if we work hard at switching the way we think about things, then over time, we're going to find that we think and we react that same way. Yesterday, I posted up a meditation, and that's one of the great things about meditation. The idea of meditation is not allowing your thoughts to control you, but you control your thoughts. And if we do that enough, pretty soon we can stop being reactive. We can take a pause. And that pause is an incredible moment because it allows us to reflect. And in that pause, we can stop and we can look at what's happening and perhaps see the reasons why something's happening. Maybe somebody comes at us with a certain behavior and we automatically assume they're just a terrible person. But in reality, they might have undergone something very traumatic earlier in the day and they're still carrying that with them. And so their snappiness or their shortness comes from whatever stresses had come through the day. And while it doesn't forgive it, maybe it makes us more understanding. And perhaps if we're more understanding, we can help them to see that the world isn't the place that they thought it was either, that there are kind and generous people. So that's what I take from our mind creates our life. What we think is what we become. So work on thinking good, positive thoughts. Work on acts of kindness. Work on generosity. And maybe each one of us can help to make the world around us a better place. I was talking last night, and I just remembered a quote that if you want to change the world, change yourself. So let's all work on making ourselves a little bit kinder, a little bit more compassionate, and a bit more loving. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Time for me to get out of here. Get on with the day.